Okay.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I've done a live broadcast with a guest, but he is back and bigger than ever. I've got my amazing friend ThinkShare, Zach Watson, is back with us on the channel. Yay! Woo! So we've got the pleasure of having him back on the screen, people. I know a lot of you have asked about him and where he's been. So I'm going to let Zach kind of talk about what he's been up to and where he's been, and we'll go from there. And if everyone's got any questions for him, then today is your chance.
Awesome. Well, Gemma, thank you for having me. Congratulations on uh, bringing your subscriber count up to 2,000. I know as much as we can let that go to our head sometimes. I love the conversation we had on the phone earlier today because you're really in your head about like a concern about being one of those people that it goes to your head, and I think it shows a really wonderful kind of moral compass beneath it all. And so I congratulate you on having that moral compass underneath, and being concerned about that, because there's so many people that don't have that, and they're like, yeah, like I got the clout, I got a couple thousand under me, like let's go, like, and then they feel really entitled. So you do not come off to me as one of those people, and thank you for being that.
I think for me, it's like you say, the moral compass is important. I've always been the kind of person to not be over my own head, and I think realizing I have got that number, it's not just about the friendships I've made on here. It's about my message, which is what I'm sticking to, the message of awareness for autism and accepting myself and telling people it's okay to be different, and that's why I came on to this platform. So for me, that keeps me grounded, and that a lot of people that's down to people like you, Zach, who keep me grounded and keep me humble to the point where I'm thankful that I am here. I know we had to talk on the phone earlier, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and kind of self panic and destruction button, but it kind of helps me to know that I am doing something good on my channel, and it's really helped my confidence. So for me, it's a really good way of therapy, I guess.
Um, I'm sorry, I was a little distracted there. I'm responding to a couple of the comments. So just a heads up to you guys, we have to do some things a little creatively when we do live streaming with Gemma when we want to do it like this. So I'm actually logged on to her account, and I'm kind of running things behind the screen here. She can't, you can't see the chat, can
No,
you?
I can't. No.
So she can't see the chat. I know she's, one thing I love about you is that you're always really appreciative and thankful and joyful at when people jump into your chat and just say hi or hello or whatever. And
Yeah.
I know I think of myself whenever I go on like live, like as much more of a TV show. Like the show goes on, and I don't acknowledge people for showing up. So I'm gonna let you do your thing. I'm just gonna read you a couple of messages so you can react, because I imagine that would like psych you out a little bit. Is just letting the chat go. I know sometimes I just let the chat be, and then I'll come back when I'm off a subject or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got let's see, SDMF Vampira. How how's it going,
Hey,
beautiful?
hey, Vampira, how you doing? Good to see you.
Becky loves Japan says hi hi, and pick three pancake emojis.
Hey, Becky, how you doing?
Um, Syntax Al, hello at Gemma's. How are you?
Hey, Syntax, how you doing? Thanks for
Uh,
being on my stream at £5 this morning.
uh, Timber Hill Redbones, hi Gemma and guest.
Hey, Timberhill, how you doing? Good to see you.
And I also say congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Pleiadian Scientist UFO Builder, hello everyone.
Hello, you're new to the channel. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and feel free to ask any questions to Zach. I'm sure he'll respond in due time.
Um, David Ennis says hello.
Hello, David. How you doing?
So for support, everyone thumbs up. Just UFO Dewey Show. Oh, Dewey Show is on. Gonna be talking about him for a little bit in some time. Then there's
Hey
MT Cole Forge and Gaming.
MT, how you doing? Good to see you.
Banana Boat says,
Hey
hey,
Banana.
Gemma. Mr. E says hi.
Hey Mr. E, how you doing?
Um, Molly Gordon says hello, everyone.
Hey Molly, welcome back.
Jeez, this isn't like the whole show is just going to be me introducing new people to the chat. Best friend in your thread. Hi, Gemma, Zach, and chat.
Hey best friend, how you doing? It's been a while. Hope you're doing well.
Lisa Pinkham says hello, everyone.
Hey Lisa.
Eric Garcia says, hey, peeps.
Hey Eric, how you doing?
And okay. All right, we're caught up with that. Um,
Way.
so I guess one question be, so I know a lot of the people on here I know a lot of YouTubers like probably maybe around our size or smaller in terms of subscribers. I'm trying to get away from talking about channels as big or small or size oriented. Um, so I'll just say certain subscriber counts. So I'd say like channels that have not been around quite as long, maybe have under 2,000 subscribers. It kind of makes up a large portion of the people that are in your chats, or at least that's my understanding. My question is, what would you say would be some of the main things that you've done that have caused your growth in finding new people that are interested in listening to your content, and or um, yeah, just like what are some of the main actions you've been taking that you could kind of pass on?
I think, well, break that down into two questions. I think, well, first part, I guess, is because I've been kind of mixing myself in different communities and trying to make people more aware of autism and what my background is. So I guess for me, it's a case of letting people know that I do struggle with certain things at the same time as being, well, I am normal like you guys, but I may struggle to catch up with the chat or I may struggle to catch up with the conversation. So it's making people aware that just a little delay in my speech or me replying to a comment or me trying to act appropriate, because I do worry when I'm in live streams with people or on panels, especially, I get a bit panicked or someone will ask me a question. I'll sit there and I'm like, Jen, we asked you a question. I'm like, oh, oops. Like, I kind of get a bit delayed and I have to think about how to answer it and then the right way to answer it, the tone of voice. And otherwise, I know if I shoot a question or answer straight back to someone, then I think, oh, that was rude, that was blunt. So I have to be very careful with how I reply back to the communication.
You don't seem too blunt to me. I feel like most of the time when you're talking, like you're pretty pleasant and like easygoing. Like you rarely occur to me as someone that says things like too bluntly, such that they are rude. Am I missing like a part? Am I missing something?
I think you probably see me in a different way because we're used to each other, and the thing is, we kind of we chill out, we hang about with each other, and I think whereas if a new person was to see me on a one-to-one call or a panel, and they see me shooting an answer straight back, or they see me replying to something, and they think, oh, Gemma was a bit direct, Gemma was a bit blunt, and there is a comment said to me yesterday on another YouTuber's live stream, and I was like, "What do you mean by that comment? Like, explain it to me. I don't get what you're aiming at me about." And I was like, I'm still waiting for that YouTuber to get back to me. So I'm like, "You've asked me, was I saying something about you, or what comment did I say to you?" I was like, "Let me know what comment it was, because now I'm completely confused." How I'm meant to react to the situation, because it makes it difficult for me to know what I've actually done. So it can be really difficult sometimes.
So coming back to the question I asked of what are some of the things you've been doing that have allowed you success?
Yeah.
It sounds like it's kind of being polite, but being very social and showing up live all the time and showing up live in being like making friends and sort of guest appearing on a lot of other people's places?
Yeah, I guess for me, it's the experience of knowing that I can be social and testing my communication barriers and trying to prove to myself that just because I do have a form of a disability, that I can overcome a lot of my social hurdles. Because previously I would hold myself back. I'm like, oh, well, I'm autistic and I struggle with my communication, and I may be a bit rude or blunt or say something that may be a bit selfish, or and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that in case the live streamer doesn't like me. And now I accept myself in what will be, and if people don't necessarily like what I say, then they can come and challenge me about it, or they can come and phone me and I can talk to them about it. I think that's the best way to learn from it. If you do something, then you can then work it out with them afterwards.
Has anyone challenged you to something that has turned into like a good like discussion where you have opposing views as the other person?
I wouldn't necessarily say opposing views, but I think me and you have kind of debated some things on live streams, on phone calls. I'm like, well, actually, I think about it this way, and then we've kind of flipped back and forth with our opinions. And I think, whereas before, when I first met you, I made a lot of excuses, and you would challenge me about it, and I know still sometimes I make excuses, and you're like, Gemma, I'm like, oh no, not again. And I have to learn to flip that with the positive thinking, rather than thinking, well, I can use this excuse, or I can say this, or I can say this. And you're like, no, think about the present moment, be mindful, think about the good things that you're doing. I'm like, oh, so it's about flipping that negativity into the positivity and realizing that I am a good person, I am a nice person to be around, and it's not necessarily about the thoughts in my head all the time.
I feel like I feel like it's not usually a debate or a discussion with you, but I feel like it's usually you're sharing
Maybe I used the wrong word
empathy
there.
that you want to change, or you're kind of confiding in me things and I'm offering opinions most of the time. But I'd be really curious because I have a hard time seeing you um, like having like a, a a discussion with someone that is a like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a battle, but like a good battle, like one that you like watching because both parties are being thoughtful in their responses. Like I feel like so much of like politics today, or like even two opinionated sides having a discussion, I feel
Yeah,
like you just rarely see both sides come at it like with sound mind and like thought provoking opinions. I feel like both. Well, that could be just my bias as a viewer. I can't tell, but what what do you think would be a discussion you could have with somebody? Um, like, what's an opinion that you think you could have, like an intelligent, like high level thinking, like
yeah.
conversation with somebody?
I think, well, I can use it an example. Recently, I was in a YouTuber stream a couple of weeks ago now, and I've been following this guy for quite a long time. And he was talking about American politics. You know, he's a UK YouTube creator. He's from Scotland, and I've been following him for about a year and a couple of months. And he knows my views on Donald Trump previously, and then he kind of educated me and made me consider changing my views a little bit. So we had a discussion, and it turned into quite a debate on his live stream. And he's actually managed to convince me to change my thoughts on Mr. Trump. And yeah, considering I
Are
was
you
like,
willing to share what those thoughts are?
yeah, sure. So basically, I was very, very hateful towards Mr. Trump because of a certain comment he made
Yeah,
when he first came into office, which triggered me to the point of I was disgusted. I hated him. I thought he was vile. He was disgusting,
yeah.
scumbag. I would name and shame him everywhere. I would be like, the
What
US
was the
president
comment that he made?
sucks. And he made a comment about autism and vaccines, which triggered me off somewhat. He basically went on he was in a live chat with a doctor when he first came into office, and he was talking about the dangers of vaccines causing autism and mental handicap disabilities. And I watched the whole thing live on, I think it was CNN or Fox, one and two online. And I watched it. It was like 45 minutes long, and I was angry by the end of it. I was very, very angry, and I don't get angry that often at all, hardly.
So
And
was it that you felt like just the information was incorrect? Like, was
yeah,
he pretty much saying that vaccinations can cause autism?
yeah, he was basically saying that he had a family member who went for their normal vaccinations, and then 3 weeks later, their behaviour turned erratic. The little boy in question was then diagnosed as severely autistic, became non-verbal, started doing things that he thought were abnormal, and he was basically saying, "Well, this child I knew was healthy when he went for the vaccination. 3 weeks later, he's now non-verbal, doesn't behave, is aggressive, is shouting." I'm like, no, well, that child's always been that way. It's just the fact
Yeah,
that some children develop later with it, and some children's
yeah.
behavior will not be as obvious. So
All
it
right.
kind of made me feel annoyed because, as an adult on the spectrum, being later diagnosed in my life, it made me feel like he was attacking me and other autistic people who do struggle with it and
Yeah.
have had to come to terms with 20 odd years of my life not making any damn sense.
So, all right, I understand that. So, what was it that um that the YouTuber that you spoke with, like, what was their opinion that they were sharing that had you switch your opinion a little bit?
He was like, "Well, Gemma, if you think about it, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I know that Donald Trump has a child, well, supposedly a child with autism, and surely if he has a child, he should be renegotiating his opinion, because if his child is struggling with it and has it, then he should be advocating for us. He shouldn't be against the autistic community saying that vaccinations cause it, because that argument was thrown out quite some time ago."
Well, I don't think that, to me, that doesn't sound like he's against the autism community. If anything, it seems like he's against the practice of vaccination because he doesn't want people to have autism. So, I mean, here's the other question I would ask you is, if you knew, which I'm not saying, I'm giving no truth or reality to this, like, this is a total hypothetical.
Yeah.
If you knew there was something that you could give a child that they would end up with autism, would you try to not let them have it?
Well,
I know that it's something you're born with. So I'm in no way saying that this
no,
is possible.
but if I suppose if there was something to out there to cause autism or to bring on the symptoms of it, then I guess in the back of my mind, no, obviously I wouldn't want a child or any adult in that nature
Yeah.
to have it, because how do I say this? It's a difficult conversation because autism is such a spectrum that everyone on that line is different. And for me, I only struggle with some of it, whereas some children and adults are worse than me. They have to have 24 hours a day care, they can't be independent. Whereas I'm very lucky, I'm high functioning to the point where I have very, very little support needs or needing to have people help me. So I guess I'm very, very lucky in the way that I deal with it.
Okay. And Dewey is pointing out, it's the way that he described the autism. So that makes a lot of sense. So Donald was saying that um, he's sort of entitled to his opinion as being a father of someone with autism. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll say I try not to get too political. I try to be as objective as possible and not subjective. Um, I did not vote for Trump. I'm not terribly uh, I'm just not impressed with what he's done. I'm not thankful that he's our president. I'll say this. The only thing I'm thankful for is I feel like at our midterm election, I think that he will have boiled enough people's blood that more people will come out to vote, and hopefully that will turn into there being more viable candidates that will want to better our country. I don't feel as though he has made our country a better place. Um, this is my sort of PC version of what I'd like to say. I rarely let the ranting come out, mostly because I think it would be unfair of me to rant about something to my students or have them see me rant about something like a president. Because ideally, our president should be like a moral compass. He in no way, shape, or form occurs to me as someone that I would want to base my morals or my child or my students' morals on.
Yeah,
Um, what was it that you were told that helped uh, change the direction that you thought of him?
I think because he kind of expressed to me about the that Donald has done a lot of good with helping people from other countries, and he was saying that Donald does have some really good business sense. He's quite a strong man and powerful individual, and I think for me, knowing that he is doing good to some people and that he is helping America in some degree, and also because of our partnership with him as a head of state for the UK, and I think it made me realize that maybe I had been prejudgmental. I had made my own bad assumptions to the fact that I was just against him for the whole autism remarks, and I was just like, you know what?
Yeah,
Maybe I need to balance myself out and think, well, that was one bad comment that I took personally to heart and felt like I was being attacked for
yeah,
being different. So maybe I need to be a bit more lenient and research the facts a little bit more about him. So I spent a few days researching articles about him,
yeah.
researching his background, everything else, and I was just like, actually, he's not as bad as I make out, and maybe I have been a bit predestined with wanting to not like him and
All
not
right.
like his message.
Here's my next question for you then. So I would say I probably am a bit prejudiced against him. I'll admit that I don't spend a whole lot of time fact finding on him. I let a lot of the news that I watch do that for me rather than searching myself.
Yeah,
I trust to a certain degree the majority of what I hear about him. I do not watch Fox News, which is pretty well known to be a Republican biased news channel, which touts how wonderful he is. Um, so, my question for you back, and I did not anticipate us talking about American politics on this live stream, but I guess we're here and I'm kind of enjoying this.
not did I. I wasn't
So,
aiming to this
so
way
you
at
said
all.
there was you said that it seemed like he may or may not he may be doing some positive for America.
Yeah,
Could you say a little bit more about that? Because I I honestly I don't think I could come up with a single positive that he's done for this country besides piss off enough people to get more people to vote. That's the only thing I can think of.
yeah. I guess I well, I can't exactly label one thing he's done, but from what my friend had told me, he's kind of tried to backdate his opinions on certain things with disabilities. Apparently, he did issue a statement not so long ago saying that he didn't mean to offend the disabled and autistic community, but I think for him that was just a way of trying to cover himself. But my
Yeah,
friend seems to think that Donald Trump is a good person, that he doesn't mean to offend people. It's just the way that we take him. And I think there's a bias to that because he is well meaning as what he tries to be. I think I'm just needing to educate myself a bit more on the whole American politic front and also to make my own mind up more properly. I think I'm starting to come across to liking him. At the same time, I'm not 100% saying I do support the guy, but I think I'm swinging towards getting to be on a level head with him and kind of just try and understand where he's coming from, and therefore try and not hate him as much as what I used to do.
So I want to re-ask my question because I didn't. I'm not sure if I heard an answer to it. What?
Okay.
So he kind of took back his statement about like being negative towards the autism community.
Yeah.
What would you say is a positive besides support for the autism community that he has brought to the US?
I guess for me, I hope that he's gonna actually listen to disabled people and maybe make himself more recognizable with the disabled autistic community and actually.
So you're talking future tense, like hopefully.
Well, I know he has briefly been to visit like children's hospitals and stuff. I have seen him
Yeah.
do some good in his capacity now, but I'm also saying in the future tense as well that I'm hoping he'll open up his heart a little bit more and understanding that if disability isn't bad, and that's what I'm hoping that he has done children's visits. I also know that he went to pay his respects to the Jewish community not so long ago, when there was an incident in America, and that did really make me feel a bit more heartwarmed that he does actually care and that he does have a sense of respect and humour to him. So I guess I have to give him praise for that because he actually was devoted to spending time with people who were impacted by it, and my heart and prayers do go out to the people involved with that situation, and it did really upset me. I did watch it on
Okay.
the
So
TV over here.
I'm going to offer a counter to that, in that I feel as though, and again, this is my opinion, um, based on some different things that I've watched and seen. So that was it was a bomb. It was a shooting at a mosque in, I think, Pittsburgh or somewhere in Pennsylvania, and I believe it was Pittsburgh because I remember hearing that a bunch of the NFL football team from Pittsburgh showed up to that funeral. Um, the person that did the shooting was, yeah, I think the word would be anti-Semite, very against. No, no, it wasn't that. They're racist. I'll leave it as that. They're racist
Okay.
slash very uh, judgmental of an entire group of people. And I would say that in my opinion, racism has increased since his presidency. My facts to back that up is that there have been the way that he often speaks in his rallies and stuff. Um, People have started looking at like people from Mexico. Like he literally called out saying that all of the people that had snuck over the border and were illegal aliens from Mexico were, I believe the word he used was rapists, and there was another word. So that is definitely one way to cause racism, is when you point out a bunch of people have escaped illegally and are all horrible criminal people that rape people. When I'm sure that is a percent of them, and I would put money that it's probably less than 1% of illegal aliens are criminals like that. I'm sure there's plenty of illegal aliens escaping other countries because it's a dangerous place. America, there's a lot of opportunity here. So, along with that, because racism has increased, another thing that happened was, um, I don't remember what it was for, but there was some sort of parade or gathering of people. I think it was in the Carolinas, or it was somewhere in the southeast part of America. Um, and there were a bunch of white supremacists that showed up and started. There was a scuffle. A woman ended up dying because someone drove a car through the crowd. And when he made a statement about it, um, he said that both sides were wrong. And I could get that, that both sides could own their part of the scuffle. And at the same time, I feel as though he he gave a little too much credit to the white supremacist group for just being like an okay another club. Like white supremacists are, in my opinion, pretty dangerous people. They have sort of an outdated look on life, in my opinion. Um, and and he didn't. He seemed afraid to demonize them, and along with that is kind of what helps cause racism. And I think that kind of um, that kind of way of being, about like being okay with people being racist and not pointing out, hey, white supremacists are not good people. Like they should have never shown up. They should not have gathered. They should not have given their piece. We understand that there was some wrong on both sides, but your whole thing is about hating other races. And he was afraid to do that. And so I think he has empowered people that have taken actions like that shooter. And I felt like, yeah, he showed up and paid his respects. And a lot of the people from that neighborhood were upset that he showed up because they feel as though the cultural racism he's created has helped cause that type of action.
Yeah, I guess you can say, well, I can say in response to that is that you can say the same thing with the whole the feminist movement and the whole issue with female rights and equality and everything that's been going on with that as well. And I guess that's another reason why Donald Trump gets himself in trouble, because he kind of has caused this big backlash of females wanting to march against him and everything else. So I guess it's the same democratic rights and whatnot. So that just depends on personal opinion, I guess.
I'm not sure I understood what you just said. That could you rephrase that?
Yeah, so basically what I said there was it depends on the same topic along the lines of, I guess, like that it's the same, it can be the same like issue as like the feminist whole thing. Like, I know there's issues with like feminists and people want to march against Donald Trump and whatnot. So it's there is issues with him. I know that he's not 100% favorable with everybody, and I get that. But there is other bigger issues that have he has caused problems for, and I think that's just something that we need to be aware of. That was what I was trying to say.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're definitely aware of those things over here.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to kind of get my point across about it. But I want to slightly change the topic line in here. I want to talk about uh you and your achievements, your book as well. I want to plug Zach for a little bit. So I want to talk about Zach's achievement, guys, because Zach has released a book that he done called Ideas Over Coffee, which is a fantastic book, by the way. I've read my copy through like three times, and I absolutely adore what he writes in it. The topics are very, very heartwarming and very, very good, to the point of how to motivate yourself, how to live a better life. And I feel that Zach's tactics on how to do that are very, very good and knowledgeable. And I think Zach should explain to us what motivated him to write that book. And I want to hear about why he decided to become a self author. I think a lot of people don't really know why he wrote that book.
Well, thank you for asking that question. It's kind of fun to answer. I gotta be careful not to stroke my own ego here. Um, but the reason I wrote the book was I was on my way home I was driving in the snow on my way to one of my college courses, and I was listening to this audiobook through audible.com, which I really love. It's the Amazon app for audiobooks, and it pretty much forces me once a month to figure out what I want to learn about. So it's called, the book I was listening to is A Monk That Sold His Ferrari, and it was talking about a monk. It was a lawyer that was really stressed out in life and had a heart attack, went and became a monk, and then came back to America because the monks that trained him to be a monk said, "Hey, you can't just stay here. Like, you have to go share your knowledge with other people." And I feel like I had gone through a bit of a, I hope this doesn't sound too like, I don't know, weird, but um, like a spiritual awakening a little bit. Um, oh, Banana Boat is asking me to introduce myself. I'll do that real quick. So I met Gemma last April. I did a lot of live streaming about a year ago. Um, I've done about 500 or 600 videos. Around like 100 of them have been live streams. My channel is called ThinkShare. It's in the description of this video or this live stream. And I would say the general purpose of my channel is to cause have a positive impact on my students. I'm a teacher. I'm 28 years old in Massachusetts in America, and so I'm out to make a positive impact. And I started YouTube because originally because I was sort of promoting the book, and then I realized it was just really fun to create videos and reach people through a video platform rather than like opening a book. So yeah, so that kind of plays perfectly. Nice to meet you too, Lisa. So it plays. I hope that answers your question, Banana Boat. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. Reminder: Gemma cannot see the
Chat.
cannot see the chat. I can. We have some tricky configurations here with the technology. I'm hosting on her channel because she does not. She's having some technical difficulties over there.
Yeah.
So,
And I apologize for the loss of picture. I don't know if you guys can see Zach, but on my end I can't. So
oh really?
yeah.
I can see me. It's strange to me that you can't see me. It's all right.
Okay. Just to let people know, that was all. But yeah.
Um, so yeah. So it was that I listened to that part of the book. So I'd gone through a sort of awakening of like, I was sort of I was 23 years old. I had gone through a pretty crazy lifestyle in college, and it was kind of overflowing out into my post college life. And I know my dad was noticing some sort of negative impacts I was having. I was doing a lot of partying, consuming a lot of alcohol, and so I took this course called the Landmark Forum, and that was huge for me. It was a really positive experience. And so I started listening to books, I started reading, I started learning, started growing as a human being, not just like getting better at math to be a teacher. Um, Quit my job in engineering and became a teacher. And so I felt like I needed to like share a lot of what I had gained in this sort of awakening. And so I started that day as I got to my college course, instead of paying attention in class, I just started typing. Um, and it was like a rush. I mean, just the ideas started coming out, and it took a while for me to figure out how to write the book because it didn't have that like normal feel that a book does, where it's like, I don't know, 5 to 10 chapters, and they're 30 pages long each, like that. That's kind of what I thought of as like a book. So, but mine were just coming out as these like choppy 2 or 3 page ideas that I didn't know what to do with. I didn't know how to organize them. I didn't know how to categorize them. It was just like, it was miserable trying to figure out how to organize them. So I realized at one point, I was really lucky. My cousin came out with a book of his poetry, and in his introduction, it said, um, "This book has no contents, or no, it has no structure, as a creative mind has no structure." And I realized I didn't need a structure. They could just be a bunch of choppy little 2 to 3 to 7 page chapters. So that's what I did. I put them into a bunch of little chapters. I'm sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. I got to deal with this. Say hi to my cat. That's Samson. So yeah.
I also think that an important thing that you do as well as your book is that you really beneficially help people, and I think the way that you interact and you're socially active with YouTube, Twitter, and I know that you're also on another platform. I can't remember the name of it to save myself, but
Facebook, Instagram.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, my brain's gone to mush, but yeah, um, you help a lot of people with a lot of different backgrounds and topics, and I know me and you've collabed on quite a few different topics since we've become our friendship. And one thing that I know you do talk about is the LGBT community and the background with that. So I think that's kind of a big area that you're very socially active with, which is very, very, I think that's another area that you're very, very intelligent with.
Thank you. Yeah, so another interesting thing was I came to have a pride flag in my classroom because at some point in my graduate classes for becoming a teacher, I was talking with a professor, and they had us looking at different diverse groups that often struggle in American schools, and one of them was the LGBTQIA, I'll say, group of people. I don't really like saying group of people, but I mean it's just there's no better way to say it.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of times that population of people struggles because they can't be themselves in the public setting, and so for them to have to hold all that in and worry and think about that, um, it's really hard for them to focus on anything else sometimes. Like I remember in high school, it sucked for me. I was just trying to be not like a wimp. Like I was always kind of that sensitive kid. I would cry pretty quick. It was not a great experience for me. It took me a while to find a group of people that kind of accepted me for who I am. And so if you don't have a family that supports who you are, can't imagine how hard it would be just trying to live your life. You got to hope that you can find some friends that accept you for who you are. So I came to the conclusion, from a friend that was gay that grew up in America in the 80s. He said, pride flags make a huge difference because it really helps people identify allies that, can make them feel at home with just who they are. So I put one up in my room. It's actually part of the reason that I'm doing pretty okay on YouTube. I met about 3.7 thousand subscribers.
Whoop, whoop, yeah.
Most of those have come from people watching a couple of my videos about why I have a pride flag in my room. Some success stories that have shown up from that, like a couple of students have come out to me before their parents. A couple of students have gotten coaching from me on how to come out to their parents or family. Made a video on some recommendations you can do as a student trying to get a teacher to put a pride flag up in their classroom. And then this, in August last year, really, really fun experience. I'm glad of what it turned into. I went to For anyone who knows Sam Collins, he's a um, he's a YouTuber that has like 250,000 subscribers, and he put up on Twitter saying he was going to meet up in Boston, Massachusetts, which I'm like 30 minutes from. So I drove down there to go meet him. I'm waiting around, and all of a sudden I bump into. I realized I'm in the right place. So Sam is transgender, and there were a lot of sure, Lisa, no, I'm not going to stop you. Um, so Sam was there, and a bunch, and so he's transgender, and there are a ton of people that are also transgender there. And so I was talking to one of them, saying, I always wanted to hold a sign that said "hug, free hugs," like in a public area. And from there, they said, I always wanted to hold a sign that said "hug me, I'm gay." I said, "Hey, I'll go get the markers and the poster board. If you want to do it, let's make a video now." Because they were a small YouTuber as well. They had like 1 or 200 subscribers. So I said, let's do this. So I made the video, and I mean it's been real. The experience itself was really fun. It was like 45 minutes. We held up the signs. I held one that said, hug me, I'm an ally." Um, Jackson held one that said, "Hug me, I'm trans," and I think his sister or friend held one that said, "Hug me, I'm gay." And we're out there 45 minutes, got like just under 200 hugs. We got all of it on film and made a really fun video out of it. It ended up being about 13 minutes long, and that helped me crack the code of YouTube. It was my first video to hit 100,000 views. It's still climbing, just a lot slower now. I haven't done the blindfolded one yet, but that's one that I look forward to. Banana Boat. Good question. No, I wasn't blindfolded. Um, I can put the link for that video here.
Yeah, if you want to drop the link for that, that'd be really cool. I think also, while we're talking about videos and stuff, a lot of people probably won't know about me and my coming out story that I did with Zach on my channel. Zach's video actually helped me to speak out about myself, and I hid it for quite a few years. I'd hidden it for about 8 years, 9 years. And I came out as asexual to Zach last year, back in the summer, I think it was. And that was really difficult because I hadn't told nobody. Zach was like the only person that I told on YouTube. I was like, "Zach, I need to phone you. I'm feeling upset. I'm anxious. I've got a big decision I need to make. Because I want to tell some of my family." And that didn't go down too well. Only managed to tell about three of my close family at the time, who luckily have been not too bad with me about it, but there's still a lot of my family who don't know and probably won't know for some time now. But I doing that video really helped me out because it really helped me to come out of my social barrier, and it's okay to be different. And if it wasn't for Zach posting that video, I would have never admitted to myself that I was on the asexual spectrum and
Mm.
that I felt I was in the LGBTQ community. If it wasn't for Zach, I wouldn't have been able to have that opportunity. So it proves that that video works because a lot of people like myself had nowhere to go. So that does mean the world to me. And now I'm myself again. I don't have to feel like I have to put this false mask on anymore.
Well, I'm proud of you for doing that with your family. I think that's been the really fun part. Is a couple people have reached out to me and really told me like how much it like. I really had no idea that just making a couple videos like that would have such an impact. I think that's been the most wonderful experience of it all. Has been like you telling me that 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 makes it all worth it.
It makes it worth it for me too, because being on YouTube, it's a scary thing. And being somebody, one, with a disability, and two, having to admit to myself that I'm different, that I act different, that I am socially inappropriate half the time, and that I have to try and label my feelings and get used to it. When I told you, it was like my whole world had changed. It was like, you know what, Gemma, after 9 years of hiding this and having to be this normal person, which is a load of rubbish because normal doesn't exist in my head and shouldn't exist anyway. I was able to be myself and be like, you know what, I finally feel free. I'm not trapped behind this box anymore, and I'm not going to let people label me back into that box because they expect me to be the neurotypical girl who wants to date boys or
Yeah.
wants to get married. No, I don't. I don't. That's not who I see myself being. That's not who I should be expected to be. But because of labels and society's judgments, that's unfortunate how society sees it. And you've helped me to break that stereotype. So for me, it's opened my world up a lot.
Well, thank you. I'm very humbled by your words. P.S. Lisa, just a reminder, even though it says Gemma Journey's Grace, that's me speaking.
Yeah, Zach is, like I say, he's hosting this discussion chat interview, whatever you want to see it as. He's hosting it through my account, and Zach is a very close brother friend to me. He's become my family. He's someone who I speak to offline a lot on Hangouts, and Zach is an amazing person, guys. If you don't know his channels, he has two channels. He has the Think Share channel, which he's talked about, and now I want to mention the Zachary Watson channel. The Zachary Watson channel is Zach's second channel here on the YouTube platform. Zach is very well respected by everybody that I've met so far on this YouTube platform. He
Except for some of the people in the comments, they get pretty ratchet. They get some crazy stuff. But I welcome the hatred. Like that there are definitely some people that are very opinionated that having a pride flag up in my classroom is a bad idea. And I say, bring your words. I'll happily respond back to you. But there's been some savage things said in that comment section, and
really?
like,
What?
oh man.
Guys, come on now. Like, we're having a good discussion here.
Oh, no,
Don't.
no, 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 no. I'm not talking about this chat. I'm talking about like in the comment section of like my videos, not this live stream. I'm not talking about this live stream.
So I say, I hope not, guys. I don't want Zach being attacked on my live stream. That's not.
No, no, that's not it. No.
No,
You were saying that almost everyone that you know has responded well to me, and that
yeah,
is there's not that you haven't there's a lot of things you haven't seen. So if anyone wants like an afternoon of entertainment and wants to, I mean, it's probably a waste of time, but if you want to see some crazy human beings speak on the internet anonymously, if you go onto any of those videos that are have like 20,000 or more views on my channel about pride flags, um, they say some really mean things, and it's like if you don't have the confidence to overcome some hatred towards LGBTQIA, that might be tough to read. But I fully respond, and I do my best to articulate things and really try to have deep conversations with people. They don't go too deep all the time, but it's kind of fun for me watching these people just rant and rant.
yeah. I think also like what you do with your content and how you come across to people. Like we've done a lot of challenges together, and I'm going to mention them because no one seems to really know much about them. So me and Zach, well, Zach challenged me what last year. Zach does a lot of rap and poetry, so Zach decided to challenge me out of my comfort zone, considering he knew that I wrote poetry, which I'd never shared ever to anybody. They've just kind of been filed in my folder on the floor and left at first, and then Zach was like, "You know what, Gemma?" He goes, "I dare you to do 21 days of poetry." And I was just like, okay. And I wrote a poem every day for 21 days, a brand new poem that I'd sat here and wrote the night before. And I uploaded them, and I must say it's been one of the most best challenges and best viewed sections of my channel, because I still get a lot of hits with the poetry videos, and if it wasn't for me doing that, I don't think I would have as many supporters and views as I have, because that kind of got me out of my comfort zone. And people are like, oh, she's being different. She's daring to come out of her barrier. She's daring to do something that's not her. And I got a lot of respect for that. And that's because Zach opened my eyes to realize that my talent was a good thing to use and it wasn't something to be hidden. And I had to step out of my self doubt, my pity of myself, and be like, you know what, enough's enough to make excuses. And I uploaded them, and I would do it over again. I'm actually now doing another challenge through Zach as well. um, that I'm planning on doing. I've kind of delayed it because I've been suffering with things at home, but
You
I
gonna try
am,
again this weekend?
yes, I am doing a hugathon challenge that inspired by Zach's hug me, I'm an ally video. And I was like, you know what? If just Zach can do something like that out in the public street and hug strangers and not give a damn, then why can't I do it? Why have I been so afraid to let people near me? So I decided with my dad and some other people that I know that I'm gonna be going around some family friends' houses and into some of the public pubs that I go to with my dad. That I'm gonna get my iPhone, bring my iPad probably as well, my tripod, and I'm gonna make sure everything's charged. And I'm gonna film a hugathon video, just people coming up to me. I've got like a board with some writing that I want to put on it, and I want to explain or see that I'm autistic, and to try and break the stereotype of people saying to me, "Oh, because you're autistic, you don't like being touched." When actually, for me personally, I do. I love hugs. I love the pressure of hugs. I love the fact that someone is potentially squeezing me and making me feel like I'm special in a way, I guess. And I'm going to do it to prove a point that autistic people do like to be touched. Not all of us do. I'm aware of that. But for me, it's that feeling of being accepted, I guess, and having someone hugging me kind of signifies that they accept me for who I am. So I'm going to do that this weekend. I'm going to start it on Friday.
Dude, I'm
And
so excited for it. I can't wait to wait. So you're gonna live stream some of it.
yeah, I'm going to live
You're also
stream and
gonna have
pre
a bunch
record
of stuff
part of it.
so I can chop it up and edit it for you.
Yes, yes. So I'm going to try and live stream most of it if I can, plug into Wi Fi and stuff. So you guys be aware if you see my live stream announcement coming up on Friday or Saturday that you're going to see me being hugged by people. That is a challenge that Zach has personally set me, and it's also a challenge that I set myself because I feel that I need to step out of my boundary and test myself in an uncomfortable situation. I kind of partly already practiced it last weekend because I went out to a pub and I ended up having a situation. But yeah, I've kind of really pre-warned myself. Um, but yeah, it's going to be a really good way of communication and testing my sensitivity boundaries. And so look out for that on Friday and Saturday. You're probably going to see me going live a few times to do it. So yeah, that's going to be my next challenge. And as well, I'm going to set Zach a challenge right here, right now,
Oh boy,
which he doesn't know nothing about yet. But oh
I'm not
well,
ready
here we
for
go
it. All
now.
right, hit me.
Zach, I challenge you to 21 straight days of live streaming rap every day for 21 days. All poetry depends on what you feel comfortable, but I want you to live stream it for 21 days.
Okay. What's the criteria? Like what's the minimum amount of words necessary to call it poetry? or
Well,
words or
I'd
lines,
say
or
it has to be at least a paragraph.
has to be at least a paragraph. All right, I'm gonna. So
Yeah.
I feel like I write poetry a little different, so I'm gonna translate that into has to be at least 8 bars. So,
Yes, at least 5 to 8 bars. Yes,
all right.
which I know you're more than
Let
capable
me
of achieving anyway, so it shouldn't be a challenge for you.
let me consider if I am going to accept this or not. How about this? I will accept, but not tomorrow. I'm going to start on the Monday, 2 Mondays from now. So we're going on vacation. We have school vacation this next week. Uh,
Okay.
and we're probably gonna be doing some backpacking and stuff with my wife.
Okay.
Um, but I would love to sort of include my students, but not so. I would need like permission slips and all that stuff for like students to show up on my channel, but I would happily write something with them and more. So like, we have some time to hang out in the morning, and I could imagine kind of getting into it with them and be like, all right, yeah, I got to write my bars for the day. Does anyone want to join in? And then if they want, they could, at 2 o'clock when they're about to get dismissed, I could do a short live stream. Uh,
Okay.
I'll be honest. So something that scares me a little bit, and this is why I haven't posted much lately, is so back in September when I put out that Hug Me social experiment video,
Yes.
it had like 500 views for like a month, did pretty well, and then in December it just blew way up, and now it's at 105,000.
Woohoo!
I I've gained probably about like 1,500 subscribers just from that video. And
Yay!
what I'm scared of is that I've set their expectations for high level quality content, not live streaming. And I'm afraid that I'm going to lose people and that like they're not going to like what they see. And I'm glad that I'm saying this out loud because I'm realizing what an idiot I feel and sound like right now. Because I know exactly if I were coaching me, I know exactly what I'd be saying, which is like, you don't want those subscribers anyway that don't accept you for who you are. But
Mhm.
I think I'm just a little torn between. I know I used to have that kind of like, you know what, just make a video, like post some content, like it's okay, action, 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 do it.
Yeah.
Um, and I realized that the sometimes it was a little bit, I want to say like painful almost.
Yeah.
Um, Producing that much content and like making sure it was daily because I sacrificed other things, which I'm not willing to do again. So I will definitely have to be on my game about having like a routine about it. The other thing I might do is I might decline 21 days in a row, but I'll say four work weeks in a row. So that'll be 21 Monday through Fridays.
Well, okay. Let me be fair to you then. Let me alter it slightly. I will let you off with the live streaming part of it. I will say I want 14 days of pre-recorded, at least 5 bar rap or poetry videos uploaded to your channel. I want you to set it as a playlist.
Okay. Here's another question is so I know one challenge for me is definitely like adding a beat to the background. Um, it's definitely a lot more challenging for me. That would be a great way to up my game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but then again, it's like I don't
Stepping
know.
out.
I
Going to
don't know
that.
if I can make the time for that. So yeah, I'll stick with the poetry slash like spoken word slash. It'll sound like rap minus the beat in the background.
Yes, that's fair enough. And like I'm saying, I'm trying to do this deliberately to get you out of your comfort zone like you do to me. So,
Right,
and
that's
to
fair.
make it easier on you, Zach, and to make it easier on me, listen to hit this chat, everybody, if you're still here, uh, to help Zach's and support Zach's efforts on doing this. I dare everybody in this chat right now to join in with us, and I want you to post a video every day for 14 days. Everybody on your channels, make it a playlist. Me and Zach will make it a playlist on our channels too. I will join in with this as well. I will do 14 straight days starting from Monday.
Boy, do you remember why I did 21 originally?
I can't remember, no.
I don't know why you're going down to 14 right now. Are you just trying to take the numbers down a little bit to make it easier on me?
Yes.
So the original reason behind 21 is that scientists have said that for something to become a habit, you have to do it for 3 weeks. So the reason I wanted to do that was because one, I wanted to challenge you, but I wanted to challenge you to the point where by the end of the challenge, it wouldn't be hard anymore. Because like by now, for you, it's much easier to write poetry, isn't it?
Yes, I find it a lot more calming and easier to get my thoughts out onto the paper. Yes.
Yeah. So um, the the basis behind the 21 days was that you build it in as something you do daily. The first like 3 or 4 days are a grind, and it's
Yep.
like, oh, it's just like it's like chalk on a blackboard, kind of painful. Like just putting a pencil to paper sucks. But like you kind of get the hang of it after like 4, 5, 6 days in a row. Um,
Yeah.
and then once you hit 21 days, it's like you start rhyming in your thoughts. Like I have that nowadays. I think it was from that challenge, pushing myself to write like that. Like every once in a while, I'll just have something that kind of comes out in my head, and I'll be like, "Oh, I gotta write this down." You know what? I'll share some with you. So
Yeah.
one thing I was thinking about making was sort of like a music video, taking the video clips from the free hugs thing, but turning it into like a story of how it all happened. So this just kind of I started rhyming in my head, and I said, all right, I'm just gonna go with this momentum. I'm gonna write it down. All right, forgive me, I haven't practiced this, so this might come out choppy, but started as a normal day in Massachusetts, headed to Boston, feeling a little nervous. About to meet one of my favorites, Sam Collins, making progress, don't forget. It wasn't long ago I was anonymous. Let's be real, Zach, think Cher still ain't a top one. So that day I find the right spot, Faneuil Hall, look around for a trans man footed not so tall. Like looking at Rockets game for Chris Paul, but his posse would still start a brawl. While I'm waiting, I meet a meek young man. Little did I realize till he told me he was trans. I'm like, damn, tell me how su- I'm like, damn, tell me how supportive is your fam? How is it out the closet? Has anything hit the fan? After we got to talking, I was getting antsy and it was becoming a problem. I'm like, yo, Jackson, I always wanted to hug the crowd when I got a poster in my hand requesting a challenge. He said back, yo, I always wanted to hold on with a similar saying. It would say, hug me, strangers, I'm gayin'. I would be scared. It would be scary as hell, but I'm gaming. I was stoked and run like a flame. Went to CVS, got some markers and a poster board. Got back, wrote on things laid out on the floor. Made some mistakes with some of the I don't know what that means. Made some mistakes with some of the cookout. What what should do for the third before we record? Jackson said he'd hold hug me, I'm trans, and maybe share it with other hands. He asked his friend, "Want to say you're gay?" Hell yeah, I can. Well, what should I do as a straight man? Just own it. You're a teacher and a great person. We need you to stand tall when the hugs come in. You're an ally. That's pretty important. Might take some explanation, but they'll never forget. So so finish writing and getting excited. Mounting the camera and it got quiet. Waiting for the worst daydreams of a riot. Stood around a few minutes, starting to feel anxiety. Listen to the sound of bass and drums and peeps. Rustle our feet, rustle our feet, hopping on forward trouble, please. First one comes up, and I feel like I'm a freeze looking into their eyes, coming towards arms. They were melting. All of a sudden, it was a frenzy. I totally commend these beautiful humans up in the city, throwing chests towards ours, breaking down the bars of the fear from our people in the LGBTQIA. It was cray, 100 yays, 1,000 eyes. Our time was great. Our time was lit like a flint chosen for this. I love wins, making trends pump for the end. Just under 200 hugs. That's a win. How long you ask? 45 men. Most love I've seen in Boston. Never forget. Thanks, Jackson, for your courage. That small pic of our stint in time frozen. 100K views in December. I can't pretend I'm not changed forever.
Wow, that's so cool. Like the message throughout that and the positive words, because it impacts you. Like hearing that again from, I know I've heard you say things like that, and I'm like sitting here going, that's the reason why I push myself. That's the reason why I admit to myself my difficulties and my insecurities. And I'm like, I'm more determined now to put myself in uncomfortable situations and sit here and go, you know what, I'm gonna go and do the most uncomfortable thing to myself because I don't usually do it, but I will to prove a point. And I'm doing it to get out of my stupid insecurities in my head. And usually I don't like people really touch me, but I'm
Yeah.
going to do it to prove a point I can do it. And because I do like hugs anyway, it's not really going to be a big issue, but it's proving the point that autism doesn't stop me from doing something. It's just a part of who I am. I'm not going to keep letting it necessarily control me all the time. So it's that really helps me to hear when you do things like that, because it's like, oh, well, I'm not alone. I don't have to struggle with having a label wrapped around my head 24/7 all the time.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing who you are on the other side of that challenge. Like I feel like, it's like one thing to be excited to do something, and then like as you're in the moment, like the eye of the hurricane, like dealing with shit, like growing and you're outside your comfort zone. It's not till you look back and realize how far you've gone
Yeah.
and you're like, holy shit, I'm a new person. Sorry, I don't usually swear. That just kind of came up. But do you
That's
swear
cool.
on this channel?
Yeah, I have done. Yeah, I have
Okay.
done a few times. It's cool. YouTube allows it in a context anyway. So I actually swore not that long ago. I swore on a live stream a couple of weeks ago. I was talking about judgments and stuff, and I was like, you know what? Things that really piss me off and really annoy me. And they're like, okay, Gemma, you're getting antsy. I'm like, yeah, because people keep whacking these judgments on me. It's like people were saying to me, well, you can't do this because of this. You can't, you can't, you can't. I'm like, stop pissing me off. I can, I will, and I can. And just because you think I'm stupid doesn't mean that I am. So therefore, I do these challenges to prove a point. I'm like, you know what? Well, if you think I'm stupid, then watch this. So it's proven a point that I can overcome it, and my poetry proves that I
Yeah.
can sit here and write poems, and I can do videos that are difficult and not usually my typical zone. Like I did a video yesterday about autism and medical cannabis, which was a subject I spent 6 days researching. And that was difficult, but I did it because it was requested and a topic that keeps coming up in the autistic community. I was like, you know what? Enough's enough excuses. Get it done, research it, get it filmed, get it up. And it took me 6 days to do it. But I still did it, and I feel proud that I stuck to it because I was not going to do it. I'm like, no, you've promised people now. You've got to stick to it. You've got people who are looking forward to it. And if it can help somebody to understand why some people with autism might use cannabis or need to use it for seizures or anything else, then at least I've given my mind about it. So it really made me made myself stand up and be like, you know what, you do support people in the 420 community, you do support cannabis use and everything else. So it kind of made me more self aware and be like, you know what, you need to stand true to your values, and I did. So it kind of helped me to be brave and be like, you know what, I was just having excuses. I was I was trying to be like, no, 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 I'm not going to do it. As a subject, I'm not touching. And I'm like, no, I need to because now it's being talked about by other people with autism on the spectrum on YouTube. I'm like, well, if they're talking about it, why can't I?
Yeah.
So I did it regardless of the backlash I might have had or the scary fact I probably could have had backlash, but I haven't yet. But it's only been 2 days, but we'll see.
Yeah. Why in my head it's like I'm slowly getting ready for this challenge. You got me going here. I have a lot since I've shared any of my poetry live. It's probably been since like August or July, so it's been like 6 or 7, like 6 months.
I know you've been busy, which is why I was actually thinking about this earlier before we got on the phone. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to dare Zach to something. He's going to not expect me to be saying anything of the nature to him on the live stream. And I'll be sitting going, when am I going to bring it up? What am I going to say? Yeah, Zach, I dare you. And I'm like, get him off the cuff, off the kind of
Yeah.
routine front, I guess. And I know if you do it to me, I'm like, well, if he does it to me, then I'm going to do it back to him and get him to take part with me. So
All right,
I'm
hold on a second. So I'm going to put the challenge that I just accepted in the details. Let's reiterate this because I know someone asked for it. So let's see, 20. We'll say 20. I'm gonna say 21-day poetry challenge part two since we did this last year.
me and Zach are both gonna do it. I will do it too. I will upload every day for 21 days, starting from Monday.
I'm thinking this one I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wait. Let me check the date on when I'm agreeing to do it. So not this week, but I'm gonna start on the 25th, part two,
Okay.
starting February 25th. Um,
Me and Zach will both do it on the same day. We'll both do it on the 25th then, and we'll
yep,
both upload 21 days of content.
yep. So I'm putting down the criteria here. You guys in the chat won't be able to see it till I save. So it starts on February 25th. Um, must be at least 8 lines. I'm thinking I might even want to try for fun's sake. I might want to do 21 lines, but I'll stick to 8. I'll keep it simple for myself.
Yeah.
Um, must be at least 8 lines. Now, is it really important to you that it's live streamed, or is it important to you that poetry happens?
Poetry happens, yes.
Okay, so I'm going to say it can be uploaded or live streamed.
Yes, uploaded or live streamed depending on comfort zones and whatnot. But I'm just trying to think where I'm trying to find.
Let's make up a hashtag for it. And when we use that hashtag, then we can. We will both create a playlist.
Yes, both create a playlist. Hashtag Zach and Gemma 21 days or something. So
We'll
it can
both,
be.
we'll both create a hold on a second. We'll both create a playlist that we will add our poetry as well as other participants.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Too.
Yeah. Just trying to find something to read to you that I did the day. Where is it? Come on, Gemma, come on.
Use. I want to do something similar. Last time it was hashtag 21-day poetry challenge, which it was just too long.
Okay. Trying to figure out where things.
I want to do like 21 days, 21 bars or something.
Okay.
Let's change it because I feel like that's kind of fun and catchy. Use hashtag 21 days, 21 bars. And I'm going to change the criteria. It has to be at least 21 lines. 21 days, 20 bars. I feel like that's good. And yeah, I think that's it. And so um, to be featured in the playlist, we will each create. Please comment on our. Please comment on our video.
Yeah.
You can't make a public playlist that other people can add to, can you?
I'm not sure. I'm just trying to find something that I want to read to you. I'm trying to find what folder I put it in. I think it's in this one, I'm hoping. It's not in my other one.
All right, it's in.
Yay! Woohoo!
Hit save. All right, so I am going to call it a day soon. One thing I wanted to mention, so totally different subject, but I just that first off, thank you, Gemma, for having me on and promoting me. It's always a pleasure coming on. You give me way more attention than I feel I deserve often, and my ego is totally way extra blown up right now. But one thing I wanted to shout out. So Dewey was in the chat
Yes.
towards the beginning. So he also makes YouTube videos, but I think he's a little bit bigger in the podcasting world. I want to say he gets like, I don't know, like 20,000 views per podcast or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember. He's big in podcasting, but if you look up the Dewey podcast,
Yeah.
I know
Have you dropped a link to that in the description?
I have not.
If you want to drop a link to him, then people can go and listen to him. And
yes, he talks about a variety of things on his channel, but the main thing I wanted I did leave the link to his GoFundMe. So one thing you can do to support our friend Dewey, he's recently gotten this infection. I think he's a little silly for having put the picture of his foot on the GoFundMe page, but
okay.
He put the picture of his foot, and he has some really ridiculous hospital bills that are not all fully covered by insurance. So he's trying to raise about $2,000 that he did not anticipate needing to heal himself. So I put the link in the GoFundMe. I'll get his YouTube channel, and I think I can get his podcast pretty quick into the description if you want to help him out or just find out a little bit more of him, see if he's someone that you want to support. He's a great guy. He has told me he actually, when he found my video on why I have a pride flag in my classroom, the first thing he did was he sent me, I think, $88 so that I could open up a PO box for people to send me fan mail. That's the kind of guy he is, and I'm going to be donating to him soon because it was just so wonderful and unexpected that he did that. Like just a financial donation to me it was so heartwarming. Like I know, yeah, money's good, but like the fact that it was important to him that I had a fan mail box kind of blew me out of the water. So
talking of donations, guys, if you want to, if Zach wants to put his links down into the description, guys, please consider donating to Zach. Seriously, guys, because
it's not to me, it's to Dewey. It's his.
Yeah, but I mean to you as well, because I know you have a PayPal, Zach. Come on, don't.
Oh, that's true. I do have a PayPal.
Yes, Zach's going to link his PayPal in the description, guys. Please, if you can just donate a little bit to him in money, it would really mean the world to me. He does deserve it. He works a hell of a lot of hard work for people. He's changed my life considerably, and if you like what you see about him on the channel, he will be back, I'm pretty sure, at some point very soon on the channel. And also, if you want to go and check out his channels and give him a little bit of support, I will ask you all to go over there after this live stream. Go over to Zach's channels, go and give him some support, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, leave him some comments, and it really would mean the world to me. Hashtag GemmaRaid onto his channel and leave him some good comments. And if you can, donate a little bit to him because, like I say, he's a spectacular person. He's really helped me come out of myself. He's helped me change my way of thinking, communicating, and he's just an all-round decent human being. So please go and support him. I'd really mean a lot to me if you'd help him out.
And the other thing I'll say about the PayPal, so I'm uncomfortable with the idea of just saying like donate money to me, but this is what I'll say is if you want to donate to me, I will send you a signed book. Um, so shipping's a little weird across seas and it's a little more expensive, but I mean, there have been people that wanted a book and they just said, "Hey, I'm going to give you $50 for it, even though I only want you to send me one." So I'll happily send people signed books if they wanna contribute to me. The money would realistically be going to um, so I don't know if I ever told you this, Gemma, but Libby, a wonderful person I found via YouTube. She found me. She watches a ton of my videos, and she's going through a lot of tough stuff. Um, she I said to her one day she made me she made me like a video like thanking me for like what I did for her.
Oh, yes, I watched that. Yeah.
And I said to her, you know what? She said one day, I think it was her. She said like, "Are you going to like? Don't you want to stay like a small YouTuber so that you don't have?" She said something, and I was like, I was afraid that I would be like one of those big people that forgets the small people. And I said, I'll tell you what, when I make it big, aka when I earn my first $1,000 on YouTube, I will either uh, use that money to plan a trip to come visit you in the UK,
Yeah.
or I will help her fly out to America so she can visit me, and that's what I'll do with my first 1,000 YouTube dollars. So PayPal included if people want to do that. That's to define whether I've made it or not. And I'm planning on.
Of course, you mate. If you want to link Libby's channel as well, if people want to go and check out Libby, then they can go and check Libby out and give her some support. She's a really nice young lady. She doesn't actually live that far from me. So.
Content. I don't. I think she has that one video, which is just like a. I think she has that one video that she created for me. I don't know if she has any other content.
No, I'm not sure. I haven't been on her channel recently. I need to go and check her out, I suppose. But Libby's a really sweet girl. I met Libby through Zach. She's a really nice girl. She actually doesn't live that far from me. We did actually talk about meeting up at one time, but I haven't actually got back to her about it. So I need to.
Do you guys live close to each other?
Yeah, she lives about an hour away from me.
Well, Gemma, I guess then you would also be. I mean, if I go to visit Libby, I'm definitely going to go visit Gemma too,
Hell
and
yeah.
that means we would probably end up doing some sort of sweet hug, social experiment hugs project, and you would see some sweet content. So I guess you're helping me fly to the UK, to go over to the UK for the first time and to make some in-person content with Gemma.
Yay! Woohoo! And you can come see where I live over here.
Yeah, I mean, I know my wife has her reservations about me like spending money on things like for YouTube because I haven't earned anything, but I don't think she can argue with international flight to the UK that obviously I would bring her on and we could go explore the UK if it's all made from YouTube. You can't ignore that. Like you can't.
I would take you and Alyssa to London and show you London. London is a fantastic place. London for me is an hour by train, so not that far to get to London from mine. I have a train station that's literally about 2 minutes walk from my flat. So I can literally get to London within 45, 55 minutes from
Well,
mine.
it's
So
it's 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 the road to UK for me then.
yay, international Zach flying, woohoo! And as Zach knows, I'm going to be heading out to the US myself in the summer. Me and my dad are actually finalising our flights right now. We're hoping to get round to the US in July or August. I'm not sure what date yet. My dad's actually sorting it all out because there's a lot of things my dad needs to sort out with airport assistance and stuff because of me freaking out and everything else. So my dad's having to get everything pre-booked ahead of time. So, but we are definitely coming over probably in August. It looks like from what my dad said, and I am going to be determined to meet up with Zach and meeting up with Lou Rock as well because I believe Zach and Lou Rock only live about 2 hours away from each other. So I'm going to hit both of you at the same time.
Oh, I
And also my
wait.
friend
That's this
Kristen.
summer. You're planning on coming to the US?
Yeah, for holiday. Yeah, I
No.
did tell you about this before. We did briefly touch on it, but yeah.
Yeah, let me know your travel plans ASAP so then I can make sure I'm not booking stuff at
Yeah.
six.
Hoping to hit you, Lou Rock, and my friend Kristen the Awkward lives within half an hour of you, so I'm gonna try and get to see her as well.
New York's about 5 hours away.
Okay, because I know Lou Rock and Kristen the Awkward and you are in a short space of each other, so I'm gonna try and get hold of
It
you.
looks small on a map, but America's a bit more spread out than than the United Kingdom. I think
Yeah, I know.
our whole state is about no, that's too small. I think New England, which is all about 7 hours from end to end, probably, or 8 or 9 hours. That's
Yeah.
like the size of your whole country.
Okay.
I might be making that up, but I think like imagine in my head that's how it feels.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Well,
like I would figure out a way to get to New York for the weekend or something.
yeah, guys, if you have any last minute comments or questions with Zach, please drop them in the chat now so then he can then go back and later on reply to them. He's a fantastic guest as always. It's an honor to have on. I'm so pleased that he's finally back onto the YouTube platform because God, I've missed him. I've missed seeing the content and everything. So if you guys want to go over to his channel straight after this live stream, we'll do a Gemma raid. Please ring the bell, ring the button and leaving some good comments. And I will be checking that you guys have done that as well. So I will be going over to the channel afterwards and checking myself. So if you go from this live stream, hashtag Gemma Raid, hashtag Zach Raid, and go over to his channel after this, then it would really mean a lot to me to see Zach getting some well-earned support. He does need it.
I don't need it. It would be
Yes, you,
much
yeah, no, no,
appreciated,
no,
but
no,
I
no, 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 no.
don't
Yes,
need
you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
it. Samson, say hi.
Hey,
Stop
hey,
licking.
kitty cat.
Stop licking yourself.
Oh, he's
Hey,
cute. Oh,
he's our tuxedo cat. Samson.
kitty cat. Oh,
Hey, hey.
hey, cat.
That one for a second.
Oh, oh, look at this, guys. Oh my gosh, cat. Oh, wish I was allowed a cat. My
You
house
know,
master
cat.
sucks. No, I want one. My house master won't let me. Sucks. I want to get a cat.
Well, you
I
just
might.
have to move to a new place.
No, I might just break the rules and get one anyway.
Wait, what rules are stopping you from getting a cat?
Because they claim that the council doesn't allow pets, even though I see every other person who lives in this block with pets. So I'm just determined to break the rules and get myself one anyway.
What's the
Because
worst that happens? You get evicted and then you find a place that's cat friendly?
yeah, pretty much.
There you go.
I want a cat. I'm determined to get one, regardless if I get kicked out of here, because I've been here 4 years anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
All right, Gemma. Well, thank you again for
Shamelessly plugging me.
It's not
Thank
shameless.
you.
It's well earned. It's well earned support. It's collaboration. It's what we do.
That's fair. Okay. Thank you for having me on. I'm
Welcome.
kind of wishing in retrospect we had not wasted time talking about Donald Trump, but whatever.
It was. It was. No, no, it wasn't wasted. It was an interesting debate, and I think it was. It was needed to for me, I guess, to say it and kind of get my thoughts out. I think it helped a lot of people to understand my political side of me, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know anything about UK politics. The only word I know is Brexit. So
oh god.
about all that I know is that
Let's
is
just say our Prime Minister is often called the demon, the witch.
She can't be. I feel like she can't be worse than the public opinion on Mr. Trump. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, she's not very well liked, put it that way.
Well, thank you all for having me. Thank you for those in the chat. And there wasn't a ton of comments, so I didn't. There weren't a ton of things to comment back on, so that's why I was not often live in there. But thank you all for coming. Thank you for having me again, Gemma. I look forward to seeing you soon. I look forward to editing your hugs video.
Yes, that's going to be done at the weekend. So that's, yes.
Awesome. All right.
It's on the way.
Well, thank you, humans. I'm gonna do my little sign up thing. Thank you for watching. Keep meditating. Stay mindful. Stay weird, humans. Yay!